Hello folks, it's Cornwall EXP here on my permitted exercise on my bicycle. So we are at Pascoe's Shaft, part of Wheal basset, and we'll just get the bike a bit down here and we will have a look at the shaft. Right. So we are now heading into the boiler house. So originally, folks, there would have been 2 Cornish boilers in here. Now I'm just going to straighten you up a minute. Sorry about that. It's quite busy around here, surprisingly, that we're in lockdown. They must be doing their permitted exercise. So this would have been looking out the window towards the pumping engine over there. This engine was a whim, folks, like Mitchell's. And if we were to look up here, we can see where the roof was connected. So this doorway right here, right there, that's the main entrance into the engine house from the boiler house, and the steam pipe would have went in through that hole there. And I'm thinking that this, well, I don't think, I know that this engine was very familiar. What am I talking about? Very similar to Mitchell's indeed. Virtually the same size engine as well. So this is the boiler house. There's not many boiler houses left on mines now because they've all been robbed away. So this is where the steam would have came from the boilers and the smoke and what have you, went up into there and up through the chimney. The chimney, as I've said to you before on other videos, for draft. Draft is important, therefore it makes the engine work very efficiently indeed. Now these engines burnt Welsh steam coal. There's the permitted exercise there, folks. So I'm not taking the piss, like some folks are. Bloody hell. Yeah. Oh, a bit cag-handed there. Okay, let's get this bicycle. And clip the bloody thing. Okay, right, so let's have a look at the business end of the engine here a minute. Oh, we can go into the cataracts there, folks. That could be quite interesting. We'll do that, shall we? Have a look at the cataracts. The bike doesn't want to stay there. Oh, bloody hell. Right, okay, leave it there. Cataracts. Here we are. We've still got some of the lime washing in situ, and if you look up there, folks, see that line there? That's where the staircase was, going up to the middle chamber. This one's unique. Oh, it's got the pattern there as well. Look. Can you see that? Bloody hell. So we're not climbing up there today. I don't feel that energetic. Right, so this is where the flywheel was, like at Mitchell's. So well, I've seen a picture of this with the engine still in it, and so it would have wound cable, which would have wound. It would have been. It's a bit awkward to describe it pushing a bloody bicycle, but anyway. So the bob would have been in there, and that would have had a shaft on it going down, and it would have been turned on a crank, which would be on the big flywheel there. And either side of the flywheel there would be 2 drums, and those drums would have had wire rope wrapped around them, and they would have went over to this other engine house here where the shaft is. And that would have wound a skip or a cage in the shaft. And of course this engine house over here is a pumping engine house, and we all know what pumping engine houses do. They remove the barrier being water, folks. Now water in Cornwall is a big problem, and that's why that engine is here. Can you see it? It's nice, isn't it? Now, I'm not really sure what size cylinder that was, but it would definitely be over 50. You can see the boiler house would have been on this side of the engine house, because you can see the cement line down on the side there. And of course, we'll just go over to where the men from the boiler house would have got into the engine house. You can see where the steam inlet pipe would have went in, which fed the engine, folks. The engine indeed. So we would be, if this was still in situ, what I mean is if we were about 100 years, then we'd be inside now. So that is the plugway to the engine. As you can actually see, if we look up closer there, you can actually see parts of the mortar where the sash windows would have been. Amazing, eh? Unique survivor. Right, now then. Let's make our way to the prize at this site, which is the shaft over here. Right. God, there's quite a few people around. I'm surprised. I thought I'd be the only bugger up here, but I'm not. They must be doing their permitted exercise. Alright, how many minutes? So we're only 7 minutes yet. Right, so we're making our way to Wheal Basset. Oops. So another feature, folks, this fence we see right here, that cable is the original cable that they use for winding the men up and down in this shaft. They recycled it for the fence. Very nice that they thought about doing that. So I should imagine there's a fair bit of money's worth in scrap there. Yeah, so before you get your knickers in a twist, folks, I'm doing permitted exercise and filming it at the same time. As I said on the previous video, it's 2 birds for 1 stone. Bloody hell, it's quite busy here.
No, remember, just have a little one though, because it's got a last you, mate.
Well, no, mate, you took all of it.
Get too close there. Right, so we're nearly at the site, folks, so we'll just go around here. So there's the other engine house that we were at a minute ago. This is part of the processing side of the mine here now. Just trying to keep my distance from people, folks. Well, I'm not trying, I am. So this on the left was the ore bins, folk. This is the compressor house, I believe. So the building just in front of us is the main engine house, and we will go inside and have a look. So this engine house was very unique, folk. I'll get to that in a second. Park the bike. There we go. So these staircase, look, these would have been the original access into the engine house. But as you can see, Cornwall Council or somebody have robbed that away. I suppose it's for health and safety. That joyous thing again. So we'll just get the bike a bit closer. Oh, it looks like the council have repaired that bit, which did need doing. Right, now let's get down these steps here, folks. Look, can you see that? And we'll get in and tell you a bit more about this engine, which is quite unique. Now, dead ahead of us is the shaft. The shaft is brick lined. There's a series of girders, and of course the rising main, which is where the water would have came up. There's parts of it still there. I know because I got a member of a few groups, and we do know some folks that have been down there. There you go, folks. There's looking down the shaft. You can see that it's brick lined. I don't think I can get you guys out there, but I will try. I'll try. I can't promise. Oh, yes, yeah, you're in there. Right, okay, folks. Now here we go. So there's looking down the shaft, folks. You guys are actually, I've got the gimbal in there so you can actually see down, which is unique. So I'm with a particular group. I'm not going to mention them, just in case they don't like to be mentioned, on Facebook. And they've gained access to down there, and there is some footage that I've seen, and it's amazing what stuff is still down there. Now this mine was actually owned by Lord Basset de Dunstanville. Basically the wealth from this mine went to his estate over at Scorrier. Sorry, not Scorrier, Tahiti. Now Lord Basset de Dunstanville was, well, the Basset family folks, they were really nice people because they created a hospital in the town where I come from, which is Redroof. And obviously today that hospital doesn't exist because it closed, but my own sister was born in that particular hospital in 1978. And so yeah, the people of Camborne and Redroof have got a lot to thank the Basset family for, really. And this is one how they managed to get some of their wealth, not all of it, but some of it. And as I said, Lord Basset de Dunstable was a mine captain and owner, and he was fair to the people. And when he eventually died, folks, whoops, sorry, wobbling, the people of Camborne and Redroof paid for the monument to be erected on top of Carn Bray. And yeah, so it's quite a bit of history, like. Anyway, this might be fun getting you guys out, so I do apologise. So bring you back up, and then bring it out. Whoops, wrong way. This might be fun. Oh shit. Oh bugger, I ballsed it up. Oh well, never mind. Stay there, folks. I'll get it up one way or another. Oh, we ballsed up. Sorry about that. Right, so this engine house was unique, and it is still unique today, being the fact that this was a horizontal beam engine. Now, the engine over at Taylor's is a beam engine, where I am associated at Eastbourne Mine. Now, you have to imagine this one. If we go back to the bike, hopefully I can stand in the corner there and explain it as best I can. Right, folks. Whoops, sorry, the gimbal had a bit of a fit then. So the floor we see there, which is obviously there, look, there was a floor there, and there was a great big beam that went up and down. The cylinder was down below here, I believe. So it rocked that, which then rocked the pump rod, which then worked the clack valves in the shaft. It's a very unusual design, and I've learnt that the original beam that was made here, or the bob, developed a crack. So they had to manufacture a new one up country, and they had to bring it down. And that must have cost a lot of money, folks, back in those days. But obviously the Basset de Dunstable family were very wealthy, so they could afford to do that. But it's very ornate, isn't it, folks? Look at it. Very ornate indeed. So this engine would have been steam hungry. So now we'll go to the boiler house. This is not going to be edited, folks. I'm just going to upload it exactly as it is. You're going to get the real deal, warts and all. Right. Now this mine here had an internal railway as well, and I believe it had an engine that was made over in the Netherlands. I don't know if it was miner or smelter. I might have got that mixed up with another railway. I know that there was an internal railway here. So this is the top of the shaft here, folks, looking down. So this building over here, just quickly, the remains of that building, that was the dry, and that's where the men used to get washed and changed to ready to go home. So now we are looking at the boiler house. Now, I'm not sure if these were Cornish or Lancashire boilers. So we're in the boiler house right now. This would have been really warm in here back in the day, folks. So we'll park the bike and we'll look at the chimney. There we go. Here's the chimney. Now, those of you who are Cornish or have been in Cornwall for a long time will know about this. Now, back in the early 2000s, they did a thing called Smoke the Chimneys, and they smoked all the chimneys in this area, and it was dramatic. Now, I was on top of Cornwall that particular year. I think it was either 2001 or 2. I can't really remember. I'll have to have a word with my Uncle Roger. But you could see the smoke for miles around, and it was just makes you proud to be Cornish, folks. Even though I've got a little bit of English blood in me. So the chimney here is quite a big one. The reason why that is because it had a series of boilers on it. Now, not just 4. I think it had, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 boilers, folks. So this is the boiler house here. And the boilers would have been basically in this area here. Now, where these arches are designed basically when a boiler is at the end of its life, you unblock it and get the boiler out, sort of thing. And would have been lovely to see this place in operation when it was here, you know. But they've stabilised it there. Look, there's a bar. Can't see it on camera, but there's a bar there. Now, the next building. The next building is what I would like to see when it was there originally, and that is the Winder, which is that building over there. So we're going to make our way over there now. Now, if we were to look down the side of that in a minute, you can see that where the wire rope would have been in that particular area, because there's an oil stain or tar stain of where the rope was. Oh, what? What's going on here then? Okay, let's get to the Winder. I think somebody's trying to call me. Now, this is the Winder house right here. Now, a bit of archaeology right here, folks. If you were to look up there, can you see them staining? I'll point to it. Ready? See that oily staining there? That's from the wire rope. So the wire rope would have went up there and wound on a big drum, which was in here. So the drum would have been right here, folks. So that would have wound straight in. So I'm just trying to, hopefully you can see this, but the drum would have been exactly where I am right here, and the steam engine would have been up there, and the controls would have been up there. We'll go around the other way a minute, because I don't want anyone pinching my bike. The stealth mobile. Right, let's get around here. So this would have been a massive Holman's engine, I think. I'm convinced it was a Holman's horizontal steam winder, like the one that we've got at home, but ours is a coal winding engine, but basically same sort of engine. So here we are, the Winder. Now I can visualise exactly what sort of engine this would have been, and it would have been spectacular, folks. Definitely. Oh yeah. So we're actually in the bowels of the engine right now. The driving controls would be up at that level there, up higher, but basically where we are. So it would have been a wooden floor, and they would have been beautiful sash windows there. So this window here, that's the biggest window, because basically when you're on the floor and when you're looking that way, you will be looking straight at the headgear or the head frame. And this head frame was massive, a lot bigger than the one over at Taylor's. Probably almost, not as big as Crofty, but not far off. And I think this one was metal as well, metal, and obviously before that it was wood. But you can imagine the sash window there, with the little panes. That would have been magic. Absolute magic. I don't think I can get up there today because I'm feeling a bit decrepit. We'll just get down here a minute anyway. So this is where the drum was, folks, right here, the massive, great big drum, which is where the wire rope would have been wrapped around, like, you know. I don't think we can get up there. Don't think so. No, I can't get up there. Not today. Not today. Don't want to hurt myself and cause problems. But yeah, this would have been magic. And I can almost guarantee this would be a Holman's horizontal steam winder with 2 cylinders, folks. Magic. Right, where are we going now then? Well, I think we're going to have to head back soon now, because permitted exercise is only for a certain amount of time, isn't it? Oh, helly hoop. So back, we'll actually go back around the boiler house. Bloody hell, bloody kids. Hey. Oh. So I hope that was interesting for you guys. Longest video I've done for a while, this one, because of you know what. So here's looking at the mine site again. The dry, the winder, the pump and the boiler house, and the processing side of it in behind of that. So basically they kept everything in-house. So rather than, like some Cornish mines, what they did, like Park and Chai, which is near to where I grew up, St Day, they didn't process their ore at all. They sent it on a overhead ropeway system, something like a surf ski, a ski lift, sorry, and they sent it down to Poldice, which I have done a video on that place. This one, they've done the majority of it all on site. But I don't think they had the stamps here. They did everything else, but they didn't have the stamps. Oh, panting. I think my mate Chris is going to be laughing at me again because of panting. Never mind. Don't worry. Right, folks, I'm going to end this video in a second. Once I've got somewhere suitable to stop. I think we'll get through the tunnel, which is down here first, and we'll end it, and then we'll do part 2. Right, so we're now heading to the internal railway system, narrow gauge, and in a few minutes we'll be going through the tunnel which goes underneath the main road, the main 4 lanes road. Someone said to me that they remember seeing this tunnel before they dug it out, which is a good few years ago now. So basically what I'm doing, folks, my permitted exercise, is I'm doing a big loop. And it's my local area because I live around here. So I'm not breaking the rules. So, as I said on a previous video, we will be doing 2 permitted exercises per week. I could go out every day, but I don't want to. So here we are. This is I think they did rebuild this, but the foundations are all original, just red brick, I believe. Sleep well tonight, folks. Can you imagine little engines blasting through here with their safety valve blowing off, chugging away? Bloody magic, eh? Right, so Basset Mines Tramway Tunnel, built 1908. Rebuilt 1997. So I was living in Camborne then. Good lord. Oh, nice use of local bricks by the looks of it. Could be St Day brickwork ones. I don't think I will stop this video, folks. I think we'll keep rolling. We'll keep rolling until we get to the other side of where the other place is, because this one's processing side of it, and this engine down here had 2 bobs. Very unusual. And then what we'll do is we'll go down through the valley and back home. 2 for 1. This one's going to be raw and unedited, as I said earlier. Right. This is Sampson's shaft, Wheal basset, plugged 1995 by Carrier District Council. And looks like they've cleared quite a bit of stuff over there as well. And there must be a shaft in there. Yeah. What is up there? Shall we have a look, folks? I think we will. I'll bring the bike a bit closer. I don't want anyone nicking that because I need it. Alright, park her up here. Let's have a look. Discovery. Oh. Oops. What is up here? There's no wall there. It could be a shaft. No barrel over there. It could be a shaft there. Well, nothing there. Well, that was nice, wasn't it? Right, so I'll get down and I'll explain a bit more about that monument up there. So I don't fall over. I know it'd be good for the film, but not for me. Should start using my new shoes, really. Still using the old crappy ones. They've still got a bit of life in them. Right, now then. Oh, Chris is going to be laughing like buggery with this. Me panted. Okay. That spire you see there, that's Cornwall. That's the monument at Cornwall. We was up there not that long ago doing a video. Now, as I said where we were a minute ago, Basset Mine. That monument is honouring Lord Basset de Dunstanville, who was, excuse me, a mine captain and owner, and he created the hospital in Redroof. And because the people were very happy with him, that was erected in his honour when he passed away. So that would happen for anyone these days, would it? Can you imagine that happening for likes of pop artist? It just wouldn't happen, would it? No way. Now, if we can see through the trees here a minute. Don't know if you can see, but directly ahead of us, there is a little castle, and that was a folly for the Basset family, and today it's a restaurant. Obviously it's not open right away because of certain things. Let's carry on because I don't want this video going on for hours, because I just don't want to upload anything over an hour. What are we on now? 39 minutes. We might get to an hour. Some enclosure there. Nice bit of land for somebody. Oh, they put new telegraph poles in, folks. So we'll just stand aside here a moment. Back of the bike. There's the monument again. Rather splendid. Sorry about the jerking, folks. I'm trying to manoeuvre the bike and control the bloody camera. Multitasking for a brain like mine is bloody hard work. Right. Can't believe this. We've got this weather like this. It's almost like summer. Mind you, I do prefer this time of year because in the evenings it does cool down, so you can sleep well. When it's high summer, when it's like 24 in the house, it's like, oh my god, can't sleep. Last summer we had that problem for a couple of months, 3 months. I mustn't moan really. I was hoping to get quite a few jobs done this year, but it may not happen if it does. Right folks, over here, over there we can see there's a processing engine house, and that had bottles on it, and I believe there was a stamps there. Not sure on that one, it might not be a stamps there, but I know there's bottles there. So basically it's like a big round pit with a raised bit in the middle, and it had brushes going around, so the tin concentrate, cassiferite, was washed over with water and brushes, and that's basically a crude form of winning the ore. Now in later mines they used a thing called a shaking table, which there is some down at King Edward Mine, and there's some down at Geever Tin Mine, and there is some at Tolgus Tin, which is just over in Redroof here. And of course Tolgus Tin, my great granddad actually worked there, folks. That's my grand's dad, which is on my dad's side of the family. And my gran, her maiden name was